Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another live stream brought to you by me, Mical Imbukwa. Today, we want to have a conversation on an ever-evolving topic, female friendships. When I mention female friendships, perhaps where you are, you're thinking about all the negative things that surround women or the stereotypes that have been built around women, friendships, and connections. But today, we want to talk about the meaningful female connections, friendships. And to help me dissect this conversation is a wonderful lady. You've seen her on my left, and I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Hi guys, my name is Munira Hussein. I am a writer and a poet. I write a lot and read a lot also. And because I have lived and experienced the love of women and female friendships, I think I have one or two things to say about what my experience has been. And this is not a professional take, it's just experiences. So I'm looking forward to it.
You haven't told them about biochem. Why did you?
Oh yeah, I am a microbiologist too. I always forget.
Why do you forget?
Well, because I think I went to school for it, did my years, and then that was it. Never practiced it. But I enjoyed the lessons I learned, and the hypochondria from all the microorganisms I was introduced to. But in that way, it's still in my life. But I haven't practiced it. Maybe I will someday. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's a great honor to have you here. You're such a phenomenal woman, a powerful woman.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah. So, we have this, I don't call it the elephant in the room, because for us it's no longer an elephant in the room of female friendships. Before we get into where we are at right now, perhaps before you ever evolve to a level of warming up to the females you have now, were you ever at a point of, I don't want to be associated with women because women are just a lot of work, or girls?
I mean, as if I wasn't a woman. But yeah, I think we all started out that way. For most of us, at least, it starts out with women are gossips, or women are trouble. Women don't want the best for you, or women will try bring you down. So we all grew up with all that stereotype about what women are like. Even before we got to actually experience any of it, we had a bias.
Yeah,
we already had this information that we thought to be true.
Misinformation.
Yes, misinformation. Thank you. And so we're there holding on to that, and not without actually experiencing the real, the real warmth and love of the women in our lives. And so I was like, no, I identify more with the guys, and I like guys or men as boys rather as a kid. I like boys better as friends, or boys are better friends because they don't gossip. I wonder what this gossip was about, because I don't think we ever gossiped. So it's just...
It was this conversation.
Yeah, it's misinformation that, women are like this. So I avoided them for as long as I could, I think. Or avoided female friendships for so long.
For me, I actually had female friends, but I would still say statements like, I would rather hang out with boys because they don't gossip. And there's something interesting you said when we were having the conversation before we started the live stream, that with women, you are free, and with men, like, you always have to be cautious. On guard, So you have these male friends that you're having conversations with, whom you're so close to, and maybe they don't view you the way you're viewing them. Maybe they're in your space because they are targeting something. So I was there, and it took a lot of growing and intentionality to get to a point of actually looking at women as people you can have in your corner and actually have beautiful, beautiful connections.
Yeah, that's true, because I think the freedom we experience as women when we're together is unmatched. It's nowhere else in this world. Like when you're walking the streets, you're worried about being catcalled, you're worried about being touched inappropriately by some guy. You know, even how they like hold your waist to move you out of the way. Like there's a lot of touching and unnecessary, callings that go on that you don't need. But when you're in that space with your women, even on phone, you have the most free conversations. You talk about everything without fear. It takes a while to build that friendship.
Yeah.
But once you get there, I don't think you ever want it any other way. Yeah.
Because there's a beautiful feeling. Yeah. I can tell you, I stayed on call with Beryl for like 13 hours.
Yeah. I know, it's not even wild. It happens.
And when you tell someone, they're like, really? What are you talking about? But we're just talking about so many things. Because there's a lot to talk about. We are not talking about someone.
Yeah, no, it's never about someone.
You're just having conversation. You start from this subject, you move to the next, and there's very beautiful connections. So to get to a place of having a community of women, what do you think is that thing that made that happen? Because it didn't just...
Yeah, it didn't just come out of nowhere. I think I spent a lot of time alone. I think most of the friendships I had, even when I was at the university, was more like, I have a classmate. I had roommates for a while, but then I had this one roommate that we actually really connected. And I think that was my first... I did have a few friends before that, female friends. But there was like distance between us. We went to different schools and we'd still talk. But it wasn't like that closeness that I built with that particular roommate. That still lasts. I still have that friendship, and it's one of the most beautiful friendships of my life. I think it got to a point where I was actually intentional about myself first and who I wanted to become. And then, of course, with the experiences you have with men growing up, especially in a community like mine, I think most of us have that experience from wherever we come from. The violence, the violence towards women especially, not just, but I don't think men are that violent with each other. But with women, there's just a special breed of anger that they have, and you don't know why. And as a child, you see that over and over, and you lose trust in men, and feeling insecure around them, maybe because of how they talk to you or how they talk to other women, and you realize you're a girl who's gonna grow into a woman, so you have your reservations. But then with women, you're barely ever afraid, because you're not afraid of the girls in your life, or the girl children you grew up with, the girls you grew up with. There isn't anxiety around being with women or with the females. So I think it was that intentionality. And then, I don't know, I think the moment I was okay with women, they just sort of flooded into my life, and I met all these wonderful people. And here we are.
Yeah. For me, I worked in a male-dominated office. Let me just say office, because I cannot call it a field, because journalism is white. So my first workplace, I was the only female. For some reason, females used to come and then they could not keep up. So I was the only lady amongst men, and I think I warmed up to that, because the men were kind of protective. But at some point they got snitchy, and I was like, men gossip more than women, So when I transitioned from this workplace to the next, I met beautiful women, confident women who know how to dress, and I was in this workplace for over a year, and there's no time there was a case of sabotage, jealousy, gossip. There was so much love in this workplace, and that revived my hope in the female friendships. And I started looking at females differently. So when I hear a phrase like women are each other's enemies, or mwanamke ni adui ya mwanamke mwenzake, I think back to that workplace and I'm like, no. And then when I look at us now, like the girls, I'm like, wow, there must be something behind this phrase, women are each other's enemies. And perhaps you could be knowing the reason why this phrase is used.
I don't even know how it came about, but it really took root and people seem to embody it and believe in it without ever having experienced any of the things that women are said to do to each other, or the evils they want for each other. Personally, I haven't experienced any of that. And even without the experience, I still believe women are my worst enemy. But if you look at work environments, for example, in any cases of sexual harassment, it's mostly men harassing women sexually in workplaces, especially the seniors towards the junior women who are coming up. Your promotions being withheld or blocked because you're not giving into certain things. So I don't think women have ever been your worst enemies, for example, in your professional life, and definitely not in school. So I can't quite figure out how that phrase came about or who brought it around, and then how much it took root. So I think it's a good thing that we are discovering that that's not true, and going ahead and actually living the experience of women's love.
The love is a lot, and when women are united, they can move mountains. And when I think of that, I think of that statement as a phrase to try make us fight each other, spend time hating each other, bringing each other down, because when we are united, like
nothing can stop us.
Nothing can stop us.
I think the phrase is like to just it's a fear-inducing kind of thing. So you see a woman, and because you already have the mentality that a woman is your worst enemy, you fear this woman.
You're always watching your back.
You're always watching your back. But she's done nothing to, give you reasons to do that. And some people are just evil. There are people like that in this world. You can't ignore it. But it's not something that's especially reserved for women. Now that wherever a woman is, you're like, oh, she's gonna get me. No, no one is coming for you.
Yes, like it's true. Those friendships, the crazy ones. Has a woman ever done you dirty?
Don't think so. Nothing I can think of.
For me, they have, but that didn't make me view women differently. I had to get to a point of asking myself what was my contribution in that dirty thing. You get, because there's always something that you contributed, whether it was the lack of boundaries, So I have been. It was crazy. It was a bad betrayal, but that did not make me start looking at women as.
I think they're all your enemies now.
Yeah, because also men have done me dirty. Not that.
It's not like it's not.
So it's a human thing.
It's a human thing, and I think the intentionality and the consciousness comes in there when you're as an individual when you have as an individual gotten to a place of understanding who you are, what you're after, and what you want. And I think that's a very difficult place to get to, because raising girls, I think all over the continent and in most places in the world, there's like a common mantra, like you be small, you don't overachieve, the goal is to attract a mate. And so you have all these boundaries and limitations that you have to observe as you grow up. Then you get to a point, if you're lucky, you get to a point where you realize, wait a minute, I don't have to do any of this, I don't have to abide by any of these things. And so you break free. And the moment you get to that point is when you start to realize that you start to understand who you are and the type of people you need and want in your life. Mm-hmm. And I know you're told to go after your goals as an individual, or you have to fight for it. And it's true, you have to fight for yourself and you have to fight for your dreams and you have to go at it. But I don't believe that I would have gotten as far as I have if I didn't have this friendship that I have. Strong women, people who encourage me, people who believe in me more than I believe in myself. Like I would be like doubting myself, saying, oh, I don't know if this is good enough, and there's a bunch of women who are just like, what the hell are you talking about? Like this is, and it's not like that kuchochaing you saying you're good when you're not. No, they actually believe in your dreams and they help you accomplish it. So I understand the need or the idea of following your vision yourself. Like that's your personal thing, but you have to get there yourself as an individual. But once you've identified what your vision is and what your goals are and what your dream is, you're going to need a community. And I think it has to be women who believe in you, and of course men who believe in you too, but there's a sense of safety you feel in a space with women. Mm-hmm. And even in sharing your vision and your fears without feeling like a failure. Mm-hmm. You can be vulnerable, you can be like, I'm giving up, but they won't let you.
Yeah, they won't let you give up.
Yeah, but you have to do the work yourself, to break free, to get yourself there. Once you do that, then the people that come into your life elevate you and make it easier for you on the journey.
Yeah, you stated a very important point, and those are some of the unique qualities in female friendships. And I've remembered the way you can have something you want to start, and then you come to the group and you share. Mm-hmm. And the girls will be there, give you ideas. Yeah. If you are thinking or in doubt, you start. Yeah. We did a book drive,
Exactly. Yeah, there's that. And my book launches, I was saying my book launches have always been with the girls. I just come and say, oh, girls, I have this book, it's almost ready and we're doing this. And even the reading the scripts for approval, not like approval, but just for me to feel like it's safe for it to go into the world. I have to share it with the girls first and say, I'm doing this. And the girls, like most of the girls who could make it, came all the way to Marsabit to launch my book. And it's just like that. I feel so embraced in such a wholesome way that there's nothing I cannot share in that space, be it emotional, intellectual, psychological, like any form of thought I have that I feel like I can't process. That space is there for me to come and say, I can't figure this out. And somehow answers will come. It could be from like the most mundane things to the most complex things. And there's always an answer. There's always support. And even if there isn't like an answer, you'll have the support while you figure it out. Yeah.
The question is always, Moon, are you okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How can we help you?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that is very powerful, because those are things you don't really get out here. Yeah. Out here it's all about what are you bringing to the table. No one cares about what you're doing, but with the girls, you have that space of actually processing your emotions and getting through that thing that you are going through without feeling guilty. I remember the way I was. Let me take some. I remember when I was in this space, very crazy space. I don't want to mention the space. And the girls were like, if you don't come out, we shall come for you, and we shall write that letter, and we shall get you out of that space. And as much as I was in that confusion, there was this this comfort and this great feeling that there are people in your corner. And that makes me think of those people who are in such spaces and they don't have such communities. They're just sinking and sinking and sinking, and then eventually you lose yourself. You are alone.
That is, I think, the tragedy of not finding your community. And even as we embrace female friendships, I don't think every woman is going to be your friend, but that doesn't make her your enemy. That you're not in the same space to be friends doesn't mean now you have to hate each other. No, you can just wish people well and share opportunities and, elevate them wherever they are in their space without having to bring them into your space like that, into your circle like that. Because there's always going to be a difference of opinion. I think what brought us together now as the girls especially is books. We read, we write, and I think that sort of translated to how we seek our personal growth and then sort of also understand how we can help each other grow. So since we're in the same space of sorts, we can share opportunities, we can help each other with whatever visions and goals we're working on. And
you even set a company together.
Yeah, exactly, dovetail. And there's like shared vision, common goals, and then now the safe space to actually work at it together. So I think it doesn't mean that you might not be friends with every woman, but you don't have to be enemies. It doesn't mean now there's war going on because you're not friends with everyone. So yeah.
Speaking of dovetail, I've just remembered I'm sitting on my book.
Please work on it.
Your client.
Yes, we're ready. We're open for business.
Yeah, and there are those common challenges that we have addressed in maintaining challenges, like lack of trust, insecurities, and maybe not really knowing who you are.
Yeah.
Because the reason why we are together now, we are not there yet, but we are on that journey of really, really understanding who we are. So how can someone who is still in the murky waters of trying to get the right friends, get the right women in their corner, how can they go about it?
I used to hate it when people would say, oh, everything starts with you. Your success is on you, your failure is on you, everything about your life. I used to hate it. I'm like, no, but you can't blame me for everything that's working or not working in my life. But the most unfortunate thing is, it's true. It's you. So, up until the moment you got into a point where you understand all your insecurities, some come out even now, like that is, something happens and I have a feeling of sorts. I'm like, my goodness, where is that coming from? So then you go back in time and assess. So there has to be consistent personal growth, retrospection, introspection. You have to be constantly thinking. I think that's what makes most of us overthinkers who cannot catch a break. But I think it's also through the thinking about what you do or where you're at in life and why that you get to understand who you are and where you're headed. And once you have that understanding, it's easier for you to create. For example, we would go to book launches, book readings, we would go to book events, book fairs. And I think that's the space in which most of us met. Actually, I think all of us.
Yeah,
we met through
Writers
Guild.
And when I used to welcome you guys.
Yeah. So you have to identify what your thing is, then reach out to that community of people. If you're a photographer, if you're a musician, you have to go to where the artists are. And that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who's your friend is supposed to be in your space, to be a musician or whatever. Because I have friends I met in primary school. One. friend I have kept all these years. We've kept each other.
That's
and
beautiful.
I have one friend from high school. We're still close. And I have one friend from my university years. So it's like I've picked one. Then now I came out here, and then through the book or the literary community, I met my other friends. So it means like in whatever space you are, you can connect with people in that space. So of course we like more than one thing. It's like one thing, I like going to book events, but I also go out. I like traveling. So you can meet people with different interests, but you share the interest. They have other interests too, but there's the one common interest you have.
There has to be a one.
Yeah, and that's what you bond over maybe, and then the community just sort of starts from there. But you have to figure out what your thing is or what your things are if it's more than one. Yeah, and then go out into that space and talk to people.
Another thing that used to annoy me is you attract who you are. And I think I had not really learned myself or gotten to a point of knowing who I am, what interests me, what my vision is. And indeed, you attract who you are. Those things you attract who you are.
It is true. Unfortunately, it's true.
Yeah. So,
I think that, like, when I look back at some of the situations I've been in, of course there are some you didn't have control over, and I think it's okay. It's okay to have experiences that you couldn't change. You can't fix it.
you learn from them.
And you learn from them, and then accepting that things that have happened already cannot be changed, but you refuse to be defined by things you can't change. So you have to be very deliberate about, you give yourself the grace and time to process things, but you also have to figure out how to get out of that space so that things like those don't repeat themselves. And that's the worst bit about, like, the world will hurt you in some way, but then it has to be your duty to move forward, to process it. You're like, why would you subject me to something and then disappear and I have to deal with it? But that's how it happens. And if you don't deal with it, then you remain there. And it feels like your life is just this hurricane that won't go away. And you don't catch a break because you're not changing where you're at mentally, physically sometimes, emotionally. So you attract who you are, because when you sit there in that space, the people that come there are people who are like you in that moment. They're going through things. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean they're bad people. They're just going through certain things that maybe they'll process. I have had people I had to apologize to later in life. I was like, my goodness, that was very wrong. I wish I hadn't done that, but I did. So how do I fix it? If I can't, then I hope an apology suffices. And then, not being a shitty person. Just because, they say everyone is going through something or recovering from something, and I think the best you can do for people is be compassionate and understanding as you can be. And of yourself too. Like, you extend the same grace you extend to people, to yourself. Yeah, and it makes life a bit easier. Yeah.
And female friendships are really beautiful. I can tell you, girls' nights are normally my best.
Me too. Yeah, I think it doesn't matter where I am or what I've been doing or how busy I am with work. The moment I hear, we're having girls' nights, I wake up and that's the only thing I think about. I'm like, what am I gonna wear? And it's not in that anxious way of like wanting to impress. No, I just want to look good and show up. And I know for a fact, even if I wasn't feeling good in that day, by the end of the girls' night, I would have, like, I'll feel rejuvenated. I'll feel inspired. And I look forward to coming back to carry on with life and do the things I've been doing. So I think that space for me is so sacred and unique and special that I I don't know. I feel so lucky and so grateful to have discovered it a bit early in life, not like later when
life has whooped you.
No. I mean, and that's still good, but like I'm just grateful that it didn't happen later in life, and it did happen when it did. That I met you girls when I did, because it makes a lot of difference for me now. Because I feel like whatever vulnerability I have, whatever success I share, I know there's people who are just sitting, waiting for me to achieve the next milestone. And they'll be like, we're so proud of you. And they mean it. It's not, I don't feel embarrassed to share the tiniest of achievements, or, some days it's just like, oh, I did my dishes. And it's like, yay. Because these are people who know how difficult some days can be for you, because they have your entire history. And they're not using it against you, they're using it to tell you that you're doing good.
You're doing good.
Yeah.
You're doing good. When you mentioned that space is sacred, I remember when, like, someone offends any of you, I feel like I can kill that person. Like, whether it's on social media,
it's like cult of sorts.
Whether it's on social media or whatever, when I see like a comment that is meant to bring this person down, I feel like I can strangle this person.
You don't know this person.
So that is how I knew this has become so personal for me. And I thank God. I feel so lucky to be in that space. Not all women get it.
True.
Like, before we started this conversation, there was one of us here, and she was telling me she's still struggling, and she even wants to start a podcast to talk about how to navigate female friendships, because for her it's crazy, really, really crazy. So having a space of women who are doing great things and the beautiful things, like everyone is doing something great for themselves. Like we are supposed to go for this graduation. Myra is in the UK doing her stuff. We are here doing our stuff, and it's just so beautiful. Cheering each other on. And not sitting there feeling jealous.
Exactly.
It's happening for Moon, it's not happening for me.
Why is it not happening for me?
It's, bottom line is,
feel safe space. It's family can be complicated sometimes, but this is like, I don't even know where to place it, honestly, because it's the freest I've ever been. It's the most vulnerable I can be. It's the most doubtful I can be. When I have all my imposter syndrome coming at me, that's the one place I can just sit and say, you guys, I don't think I deserve this. And because there's a file on me on how far I have come, these are people who will refer back and say, look where you came from. Nobody deserves this more than you do. You earned it, you worked for it. Because sometimes you forget how hard you work, how much you have overcome. You forget because you only see where you are in the moment. But you need people who will graciously remind you that you've been conquering so long, that if a good thing happens, or if it takes a bit too long to happen, it's fine, because look how far you've come. So they have a roadmap to all the way back, just to say, you're doing great. It's fine that it's delayed, but it's definitely going to happen because it's you.
And you're here supporting me. I reached out. One of us was not here, but we want to be three, right? But you showed up because you value this thing that I'm doing, and you are willing to support. Thank you so much.
I am proud of you, honestly. You do so much, and I'm like...
I sit down and I'm like, Moon is my friend. Moon has authored like 4 books plus
quite a few. It's like, I lost count. The primary school textbooks, and
so I'm proud of you, and thank you so much. This is, I think, how the space extends out here. Because when I come across a woman being harassed or abused, I always stand up for women.
Yes.
I always stand up for women. And if it's something that I feel maybe this woman is guilty, I'd rather not comment.
I know, there's a bias of sorts, you
know. So it's just so beautiful getting to a point of understanding that women are not your enemies. True. They can be your greatest friends. They can push you to achieving those things that you are working on. They can be there for you when you are at your lowest. They can be there when you don't even know where to go. When you're stuck with that guy who is mistreating, that toxic guy, they can actually get you out of that space.
They can, and they do it so boldly. It's beautiful. I think we have so many shared experiences as women. It doesn't matter where we come from. We have so many shared experiences. We have lived very similar lives wherever we started from, that we understand we understand each other on a deeper level, and that's where we work from, and some of these things that we feel stuck in, and then you move from it and you see a woman going through that and you're like up in there. I don't want you to think that this is the end of the world, because look at me. And a lot of people's experiences do inspire you, and you can listen to a man who started from scratch and built this magnificent life, and you will admire it. But there's a way you feel different when it's a woman, because it feels like it could be you, and it will be you, and it's not jealousy. It's not saying how could she do that when I am struggling. No, it's like, you know what? If she could move from this space to getting to this point, then it means there's a way. I just need to figure it out.
We go through struggles, and then one of us makes it.
It's like,
that is hope.
It is hope.
It
really is hope, and that's all you need sometimes to keep you going. The hope that things can change.
Just on the side before we wind up, has a woman ever come to you? I come to you as a woman.
Yeah, and it wasn't her fault or mine, but I think I am so grateful for how quick my mind, grasped the concept of life. Okay, if I say I have grasped the concept of life, it feels like I might be having an easy time being alive. I am not. The living experience for me is challenging, because there's a lot I still don't understand, and because I think a bit too much, I grapple with so much. But I always have refused to, I have been intentional about not being angry at people who don't deserve my emotion like that. I have been before, and I still do sometimes, but I think when I start feeling certain way about things, I stop to think. So any woman who's ever been like, oh, he is, or stop doing this, I'm like, okay, sure. That you shouldn't be reaching out to a woman and saying stop texting or calling.
Because that man,
why are you fighting that battle? Like, it's a bit much. But if you must, then I don't think I am the person you need to talk to. But if I know, I'm just going to take my leave, because I don't think it doesn't match my character or personality or my journey for me to be in a space where there's going to be conflict like that. So and I think I always apologize if it happens. But I am way past it now, and I'm just grateful. I think I'm in the most blissful space in my friendships right now, and even in my understanding of my life, and I don't want anything to contradict that. So everything I do is to protect the life I'm building and the happiness I have managed to attain up to this point.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for bringing your presence on the set.
Try.
You tried.
I tried.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, this has been a very rich conversation. And one thing has come out clear, like to attract those female friendships that you usually you have to be that woman.
Yes.
You have to work to be that woman that you are looking from other women.
True.
And you will attract the most amazing and the most beautiful friendships, like the one we have.
You know, I mean, but do we see?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that is it for us. From us. That is it from Moon and I. I hope you have learned great things. Female friendships are beautiful, and stop hiding in that bubble of mwanamke ni adui ya mwanamke. That's a phrase to keep us apart. So work on on yourself, and you will indeed attract those friends that you are looking for. Thank you so much.
Asanteni.